guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. This is my dog Klaus right here, and today we're going to talk about Isle of Dogs. So we're going to see how long little Klaus here can sit here and do a review with me because he has a little bit of an attention issue, but let's just get started. So Isle of Dogs is directed by Wes Anderson, and it's done in the same stop animation style as The Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I really enjoyed. In general, I'm not a huge Wes Anderson fan. I really did not like Grand Budapest Hotel, and see, look. That's as long as he lasted. So, like I was saying, I don't really love Wes Anderson. I really did not like Grand Budapest Hotel. I didn't care for Moonrise Kingdom. I actually couldn't even finish it. But I did like The Life Aquatic. So it's been kind of hit or miss with me with Wes Anderson. I did really like Fantastic Mr. Fox, so going to this one, a little more hopeful. And I have to say, it definitely lived up. As you've seen from the trailers, the story is fairly simple. It takes place in this kind of fictional town in Japan called Megasaki. And they decide that all dogs are bad. The bad leader, mayor of the town, Mayor Kobayashi, said we need to get rid of all the dogs. He loves cats. Dogs are bad. They're sick. He causes them to be sick. And he throws them away, makes them go to Trash Island. So a small boy, Atari, who happens to actually be the mayor's nephew, flies over to Trash Island to save his dog Spots. And he meets up with this pack of dogs. And they go on an adventure to save his dog. And that's basically the story. But there are kind of two stories going on at the same time. You have that story, which is the main story, along with what's going on in Megasaki and trying to, expose what the mayor did and, save the dogs. So you have two fronts going on at the same time. I personally thought the story that takes place with Atari and the dogs on the island was a much more interesting story and a much more compelling, heartfelt story. But the other one, had its merits and needed to be in the film. The story itself was fairly simple, I will say that. But it had some heartfelt moments, and it really delved into the relationship between a pet and their owner. And you have a character as Bryan Cranston's dog Chief, and it's him kind of growing into what it's like to be a pet, because he was a stray his whole life. And the interaction with him and Atari are, it's really heartfelt at times, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the film. There's tons of amazing voice acting in this film, especially by Bryan Cranston, Jeff Goldblum, Bill Murray. There's just tons and tons going on. Tons of Japanese-speaking individuals that did an amazing job. It is really well made, and I think the voice acting really took it to another level. This movie could have fell a little flat. For me, his movies, I know that they're intentionally done in kind of a flat style, but I don't love it. I don't love Grand Budapest Hotel, the awkwardness, strangeness. It worked a lot better in this film. You had that quirky weirdness that Wes Anderson always has in his movies, but I think it worked a lot better in this film, and I really enjoyed it. Of course, the art style is incredible. Anytime I see stop animation, whether it's Fantastic Mr. Fox, Nightmare Before Christmas, Kubo and the Two Strings, just to name a few, it's always so impressive, and this is no exception. This is such an impressive film. Such amazing little set pieces and attention to detail between the fur moving and little insects on the fur and just like little petals in the air. It looked amazing. There's some amazing environments between the city, the island, the little aspects that are on the island, the paper on the ground. There's just so many cool little things in this movie that it was just such a delight to watch. And it was so, I don't know, like endearing. Like it was very whimsical the way it was done, and I really love that style. There's a really cool thing that they do with the animation in this film. So mostly the film is, as you see in the trailer, the stop animation looks incredible. And then when it's on a screen, like a broadcast or a surveillance screen, it flips to this 2D animation that also looks really good. And seeing that juxtaposition between the 3D stop animation and then the 2D animation, I really like that. There were some scenes that they switched back and forth because it would be like a camera watching something and then the actual event happening. And I really liked that. That was probably my favorite part of the film. I loved when they did that. And I did think it was really interesting that Wes Anderson decided to not translate some parts of the film, which I think added a little bit extra to the film. You kind of interpret what is going on and these emotions and things like that, because I don't speak Japanese and I don't understand. There's probably 20% of this movie where I have no idea what they're saying. There's no subtitles. It's loosely translated sometimes if there's a narrator. And I actually like that. I like that little bit of authenticity to the film. So overall, I thought it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. And I thought that I would like this movie going into it because I really did like The Fantastic Mr. Fox, but I was a little worried because, like I said, Wes Anderson's quirky dryness of the movie, sometimes it just doesn't hit with me. I know people love it, but I did not like Grand Budapest Hotel. Oh, that's another thing. I know Grand Budapest Hotel was highly acclaimed for its soundtrack or score. This movie had a really good soundtrack and really good soundtrack score. Really enjoyed it. It worked really well. The music, I think the orchestral music. Then they had a couple that had little singing going on, and I really liked it. It really helped with the tone and what was going on in the film. Really enjoyed that little part. There's such attention to detail. Wes Anderson's as much as some people don't like him, and even I don't like him sometimes, he does not skimp on the detail, and this is definitely one of the most detailed movies I've ever seen in my life, detail-oriented. So if I were to rate this movie, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. I think it is an exceptional movie. You know, it could be it's just something to keep me from giving it like a 9 or a 10. It has a pretty basic story, and it does have that similar feel of what Wes Anderson films feel like. I would have liked maybe a little branch out from his wheelhouse, but it was really good. If you love Wes Anderson, you will not be disappointed. If you liked Fantastic Mr. Fox like me, you'll really like it. And one little side note at the very end I have to talk about. So this movie, I noticed when I was seeing it like previewed at the film, it was put with children's movies, which is kind of strange. It's not a children's movie. Not that it's a dark, graphic movie, but there are moments in the film where I feel like a child would be freaked out and not understand what's going on. In fact, when I was in the theater, there were multiple children in the theater. I was kind of surprised that people brought their kids to see this movie. Maybe they thought it's an animation, it's a kid's movie, whatever, but it is rated PG-13. And I heard these kids being like, what's this? What is that? I don't understand what's going on. I mean, there are certain situations in the film that were a little more adult that a kid might not understand. And also there's a little bit of a graphicness with blood and stuff at different times. And yeah, it's definitely not a kid's movie, I wouldn't think. But yeah, just keep in mind, if you're going to take your kids to this movie, it might not be the best idea. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about the Isle of Dogs. Where does it rank for Wes Anderson films with you? And see you next time.